Everybody can hear me, right? So today's topic, first topic is Mudra. And you have the names of all the mudras. Today we're going to talk about Bhujangini Mudra. Bhujangini Mudra. Bhujang means a snake. Last week, which one we learned? Kaki Mudra. Kak means a crow. Bhujang means a snake or a serpent. Let me give you the Sanskrit verse where it's explained. Vaktram kinchit suprasayam cha anilam galya pibet sa bhavet bhujangi mudra jara mrityu vinashani. So literal translation is opening the mouth wide enough. Suck air through the throat. This is known as Bhujangini Mudra. Once it's mastered, all abdominal disorders are removed. Tat sarvam nashe asho yatra mudra bhujangane. Okay. Yavach udre rogam jirnadi visheshata. That means once it's mastered, all abdominal disorders are removed, old age and the death are eliminated. So that's what this Gherand Samhita is saying. Okay. So all disorders of the stomach really means it definitely helps our digestive system. It helps our spleen and especially it helps liver. That is the largest internal organ in the body, our liver. So how to do it? Again, sit in any comfortable position. Siddhasan, Vajrasan, Sukhasan, Padmasan, whichever one is comfortable for you. Close the eyes and relax the whole body. It's very important. Before any mudra, closing the eyes and mentally relaxing the whole body is very essential. Especially in this case, abdomen, because you are using your abdomen. You need to bring the chin slightly forward. It's just like normally chin is back, bring it slightly forward and upward. So not bending down. So forward and upward, little bit upward. Then open your mouth fully, like this. See, in the Kaki Mudra, what did we do? We did like, right? In this one, we are opening our mouth completely, fully. Suck air in through the throat. Just like you are drinking the air. Just like we drink water, drinking the air. Trying to fill the stomach as though drinking water. You will see that your stomach will bulge out. Fill the stomach with as much air as possible. Expand it. It's like a balloon is expanding with more air. Hold the air as long as you can comfortably. Then expel the air out through the mouth again. Not from the nose. In Kaki Mudra, we just made a little beak and we sucked the air in, then we expelled it from the nose. In this one, you take the air in and then close your mouth, hold it in there, and then open your mouth again with the sound. With the sound, quickly, you just throw that water out. So how many times you should do it? If you have a generally good health, about 5 rounds of this is sufficient. Yeah. Especially if you do it after the morning cleansings. And morning cleansings are what? Our neti and our woman. And even the days when you do the Shank Prachalan, the intestinal cleansing, you can still do it. Okay. So it will tone your whole stomach. It will remove the stagnant air, and your inner organs, they will function better. Okay. So very easy to do. Only thing is you need to make sure that you do it with a calm mind. Mudras are supposed to be done with a very, very calm mind. Okay. So try it and then let me know you liked it or not. At least try for a week. Okay, for a week. And then next week I'll teach you something new. So Bhujangini Mudra. There's a Bhujangasana also. That is a little different, right? Bhujangasana is a Sarpasana where we are lying down on our stomach and we lift our upper body up, right? Over there, mouth stays closed. Only when we want to give a little stretch to our tongue also, then we stick our mouth, but mainly mouth stays closed. In this one, we are sucking the air in from the mouth. Any question before I move to the next topic?
Harsh, what the name of this mudra is?
Bhujangini.
No, this mudra.
Bhujangini Mudra.
Oh, Bhujangini. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yes. Bhujang. Bhujang means a snake.
Snake, right.
A serp, okay?
Hershey, should it be done in the morning? Obviously, when you're
yes, empty stomach, definitely. Right after your cleansings, do that, definitely. Because if you have a stomach in your food in your stomach, then you won't be able to practice it completely.
Yeah.
In the evening, you can do it. See, any kinds of a pranayams or the mudras, if there has been like a 3 to 4 hours of duration between the mudra and the food, you can do it because the food has gone down. Okay.
Thank you.
So sometimes if you don't have time in the morning, in the evening, definitely you can do it. But morning is the best time for these deeper exercises. Okay.
Thank you.
Because mind is also calm at that time. You have better control. Okay. So I would say just starting tomorrow, practice for a few days and then let me know.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Good. I'm glad, Menka. See, young people, when they start learning at this age, they not only get the benefit, they will help others also. They'll have a full conviction because they have experienced it. Okay. From your experience, then it's your experience which is talking. In Sanskrit, which we call anubhav. Anubhav, right? So then nobody can deviate us. So if somebody says, no, it's not good for you, you say, I have done it. Like sometimes you say that doctors are saying that women should be done only once a week. And what is my answer normally? Ask your doctor how many times the doctor has done woman. I have done woman all my life. I have done neti all my life. I have done pranayams and asanas. So I am talking from anubhav, from experience. I don't have a medical degree, but I have experience. Okay. So that's why I'm glad Menka has a medical degree also, and she's practicing all this. So very proud of her. Very proud of her. Okay. So now the second topic today. Certain facts about Hinduism. Sure, I will go through the rituals also, through the symbolism also. I don't know how much I can cover today, but let me start it at least. If we cannot cover the whole thing today, then continuation will be in next Wednesday's class. Okay. As you all know, Hindu scriptures are a unique blend of the subtle philosophy of Vedas on one hand and elaborate rituals on the other. Okay, philosophy, rituals, both. And sometimes the Hindus themselves are confused and confounded by this mixture. Because Vedas, what do they say philosophically? They proclaim that the reality is one and one alone. Only one God. But then somebody says, why do Hindus fall into manifold denominations? and follow variety of conflicting spiritual practices, that's where the conflict comes. Why do we see so many gods in the Hindu temples? So many divisions, sects, creeds, castes. Why then Hinduism does not concentrate on one God? If the Vedas say there's only one God, why don't they have just one ritual, one practice like other religions? Let me give you some definitions first. Hindus are not polytheistic. They are not. So polytheism means many gods. So Hinduism is not polytheistic. The different gods as well as goddesses are mere representations of the powers and functions of the one supreme God in this manifested world. As a Hindu, you can worship on that one Brahma, directly as Brahma, and that Brahma could be formless, or you can worship any form also. You are still Hindu. Because Hindu religion is designed to treat all types of disorders of the mind. And human mind is very complex. And religion is meant to cure these diseases and regain the spiritual health of individuals. That is the purpose of religion. So each individual has to be treated separately according to his disease. There cannot be one doctor, one medicine, and a cure for all the diseases. And what are these diseases of human beings? These are called vasanas, or desires. As long as these vasanas are there, the desires are there, the mind is in a very chaotic state. It helplessly runs into those fields. And a religion is meant to help us to withdraw our mind from the preoccupation with the desires, to bring it into a single-minded. So when this mind is brought into this single-pointedness, then it can be directed towards meditation and even realization of the Supreme. So that's why the great rishis, they thoughtfully brought the gods and goddesses, rituals and festivals, ceremonies and celebrations as a very big part of our religion. So the master plan of the Hindu sages is to divinize everything in this world, because our attention is always towards the world. So it's like with this plan, mind is reminded of the Supreme, even if it's engaged in world. For example, Hindu sages, they have a personified wealth and riches in the form of a goddess Lakshmi. If you go to India, you will see almost every shopkeeper, they have a picture or a statue of goddess Lakshmi. So before they even receive the first customer, they pray goddess Lakshmi. So they want wealth, physical wealth, but they connect their mind with God also. They say by worshipping goddess Lakshmi, they will have more wealth. So that's how they have divinized a worldly act also. And anybody who is pursuing knowledge, and knowledge is personified with the goddess Saraswati, right? You will see that statue of goddess Saraswati when people, they want to learn how to write, how to sing. Goddess Saraswati. So even though initially this person is engaged in the pursuit of worldly knowledge, but even with that pursuit, they can get attached to the divine knowledge, Goddess Saraswati. So that's how there are numerous gods or forms of gods covering the entire sphere of human activities. That's why it's said the life of a Hindu is a series of prayers and worship. Everything is divinized from the cradle to the grave. In fact, before even cradle, before that being is conceived, parents go to their guru to pray that we want a baby in our house. Can you pray for us? So before even the cradle. So there is a ritual associated with every aspect of Hindu life. Entire passage from the birth to death is nothing but a series of rituals and religious ceremonies, prayers and worships. And basic idea, just remember, is to remind ourselves that this dissipating, disintegrated mind, which constantly looking for the purpose in this worldly sphere, ultimately we got to unfold all that and come to the self, the soul. These rishis, they gave the highest philosophical and religious truths directly through Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutra. But all these great books, great scriptures, they were beyond the grasp of a common person. At this ashram, we have studied many Upanishads. We have studied Bhagavad Gita. Couple of years ago, I started teaching Brahma Sutra. Some students over here in this class also could not wait to finish that. They said, this is beyond our grasp. Brahma Sutra. You can imagine if it was very difficult, and most of the people who come to the ashram, highly educated. Their mind has been trained to grasp, but some of these deeper messages, we need deeper meditations to understand it. So that's why these rishis, they presented the Puranic stories, rituals, and symbols, so that average man can understand. So that's how the great truths of the Vedas were handed down from generation to generation with their pristine glory. That's why when we studied Ramayana, even though we don't understand the deeper implications, but still we do know the story. We know the Bhagavad Puran stories also here and there. But we got to make sure that we dig deeper into the real meaning of it so that we connect with the reality. In many of these stories, average person will say there is exaggeration, almost bordering on absurdity. When you look at it only from a surface, when we just take it literally, but when we delve deeper to recognize the significance, there's no absurdity about them. Because if you take them literally, that's how the superstitions and the perversions of the truth came about. But this philosophy ultimately helps us to rise above all these superstitions. See, superstitions are the one which make our mind weak. And this philosophy says, make your mind strong, make your mind pure. With the help of the mind, you are going to attain the selfhood. So the Hindu philosophical and spiritual truths conveyed through Upanishads and the Puranic literature has been presented to the masses in the form of symbols and rituals. What is a symbol? Definition of a symbol is a idol representing the unknown ideal. So just like a flag of any country, it's a symbol made out of cloth with some colors and some design on it, but it represents the ideal of that country. So that's how the symbol is. So with the help of the symbol, it's like an art of God. Symbolism helps both the literate and the illiterate. It's an art. It is an art that Lord Goddess, gods and the goddesses, they have been personified in those images. That's an art. Whether it's a Lord Ganesh or whether it's a goddess Lakshmi, whether it's a goddess Saraswati or goddess Kali, all those are personifications of some truth. Because the illiterate, the person who did not get a chance to study all this, a person who cannot really understand the depth of it, can derive at least some idea of the supreme truth through the symbols. And a person can maintain their ancient culture and heritage through those symbols. And literate people who had the chance to study something further, they can understand the inner significance of the symbols, greater conviction of the truth that these symbols represent. So it helps both. So symbolism plays an important role in life. But unfortunately, modern generation doesn't want to study it. There are people who just accept them blindly without even understanding the deeper meaning of it. And other people think there's a meaningless superstition. Through history, there arose 4 principal Hindu denominations. We should know that also. So not just only the symbols and the idols and the scriptures, but Hindu denominations. First one is Shaivites. They worship Lord Shiva. They're called Shaivites. Second one is Shakats, Shakats, Shakats. They worship goddesses as supreme. Then third denomination is Vaishnavites. They worship Lord Vishnu. And the fourth one is Samarthas, Samartas. They see all deities as the reflections of one God. So they say that you have a choice of a deity. So Ishta Devata, so choice of a deity is left to the devotee. And normally Guru gives you that choice. So due to this diversity, Hindus are profoundly tolerant of other religions, respecting the fact that each has its own pathway and one God. Because under Hinduism, umbrella of Hinduism, we have these denominations. Okay, so whether a person worships Lord Shiva is supposed to have a same kind of a love for Lord Vishnu also, for Lakshmi also. So this is a unique understanding in Hinduism that God is not far away, living in a remote heaven, but is inside each and every soul. And that's where the respect for each and other should be. God is not sitting on some heaven. It's right here. Is inside us. And inside everybody else also. Always with us. And what happens with this? If we truly feel that God is with us all the time, it gives us hope. It gives us courage. Because knowing the one great God in this ultimate and experiential way is the goal of Hindu spirituality. So in this sense, you can say that Hinduism is both monotheistic and henotheistic, but never polytheistic. So polytheistic means that there are many equal gods, or so many different gods. So henotheism means one God. So that really describes or defines the Hindu view. Worship of one God without denying the existence of other form. And the term panentheism, that view of God as existing in and giving life to all things, that is also one way to look at Hinduism, panentheism, not a polytheism, but panentheism. Okay. And when we talk about panentheism, it is like an all-encompassing concept. God is both in the world and beyond it, both eminent and transcendent. This is the highest view of Hinduism. And some Hindus definitely believe only in the formless, absolute reality as God. Others believe in God as personal Lord and Creator. Both are okay. So the freedom is there. Hinduism gives us the freedom to approach God in our own way. As long as we are approaching, as long as we are cultivating the qualities, as long as we are respectful to others, we are Hindus. Because Hinduism encouraging a multiplicity of paths, not asking for conformity to just one. Because there are so many different minds, so many different attitudes. I can believe in God, this form of God, you can believe in that form. These are just the forms. I've been talking about goddesses. And these are the days when we are worshipping. There are 9 days given to worship the goddesses. 9 days. It's called a Navratri. Ratri means the darkness. So when we worship or when we praying to God, get rid of the darkness in our life. That's what it really means. So 9 days around this time, and there's a 9 days in spring also. So twice a year we do this as Hindus. There are 3 powers of God: Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. And there are goddesses. Those are like a consorts of the 3 gods. Brahma's consort is Saraswati. Vishnu's consort is Lakshmi. And Mahesh or Shiva's, it's the same personality, Mahesh or Shiva. Consort is Durga or Parvati or Kali or Uma. There's so many names. The Vedic tradition, just remember this, I'm not saying that right now it's being practiced that way, but if you study the Vedas, Vedic tradition of India has given women the highest place of respect and recognition. Okay, we got to remember that. Let's talk about Saraswati. Again, these are personifications. Symbolically, we learn a lot from these personifications also. Saraswati, goddess of knowledge. Because Brahma, consort of Brahma, Brahma is the creator. For creation of anything, you need the knowledge. So that's why that goddess is a goddess of knowledge. Saraswati. It's made up of two words, Sar and Swa. Sar means, like a first word, one who gives the essence. When you open it up, it becomes a sar of something. Okay, so one who gives the essence, and Swa means our own. So that's a Saraswati. How do we visualize Saraswati? How is it personified? Saraswati is seated on a lotus, holds a sacred scripture in one hand and a lotus in the other. So she's seated on the lotus flower, but on one hand, a small lotus also. And third and the fourth hands, she plays the veena, the instrument. So that's how four hands are. What is a seat of lotus? That means she is firmly established in experience of the supreme reality. That is the seat of lotus. Firmly established. And lotus in one hand means the supreme goal is God realization. And never forgetting that. That's why you often see that lotus in the hands of gods and goddesses. It's a reminder to us that this is the goal. God realization, self-realization. And scripture on the other hand, that is means the path to this goal is these scriptures. These are not outdated books. The scriptures, they have the eternal truth in it. So we should study the scriptures. That's why this one of the steps on the path of Ashtanga Yoga is, there's a part of it, Swadhyay, study of the scriptures. Okay. So what is a veena? Veena represents the path of devotion. Kirtan, bhajan, that's a bhakti mark. Because the enjoyment comes, you all know that when we do the kirtan, we can forget about ourselves. But first the knowledge has to be there too. The singer who's singing should have the eyes closed and should sing for God. Not to impress others with that art. And the listeners also, with the help of all those vibrations, tune in. That's what Goddess Saraswati is teaching us. And why four hands? Because all these, majority of these personifications, they have four hands. Four hands represent the four aspects of inner personality. Antekaran, man, buddhi, chitankar. Mind, intellect, the chit, the deeper mind, and the ahankar, the ego. So remember, the Saraswati is the consort of Brahma, creator. Creation is not possible without knowledge, and this is what you see in this whole image of Saraswati. Let's talk about Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. Consort of Vishnu. Vishnu is the maintainer. You cannot maintain anything, even your household, without the wealth. So that's why this goddess of wealth, power of maintenance. Lakshmi, another name for Lakshmi is a Swarnhast. Swarnhast means from the hand we see the gold flowing, wealth. So goddess pours out riches with one hand. Again seated on the lotus and holding lotus in her hands. Wearing a red sari. See, Saraswati is wearing white sari with a gold border. Lakshmi is wearing a red sari with a gold border. Then there's a Parvati. The goddess of protection, valor. And their number of weapons she is wearing. Garland of skulls. Holds a lotus in one hand, but definitely holding a severed head in another hand. That means the head has been cut out and she is holding it. So all these represent destruction of evil and protection of good. And that's what that lotus means. On one hand, she destroys the evil. On the other hand, she protects the good. So this goddess is invoked by the seeker to destroy all his desires. That's what we need to annihilate, our desires. Only then our supreme self will be unveiled. And at present, we are riddled with countless desires, agitations, sufferings. We are tormented by our own insecurities, our own selfishness, jealousies, hatred, greed. So if we say that we are a worshipper of Goddess Durga, we need to ask Goddess's blessings and do our effort also to get rid of all these negativities. So how do we worship these three goddesses during these 9 months, nine days, Navratri? First 3 days, Goddess Parvati or Durga. Then after that, 3 days, Goddess Lakshmi. The last 3 days, Goddess Saraswati. What is the significance of it? Suppose you buy a plot and you want to grow something there and it's full of weeds. What do? First, clear the weeds. Whether you take them out, whether you burn it, whatever you do, you want to make sure that there's no weeds in there. And that's what it is inside us also. Our own field, if it's full of negativity, it's full of jealousy, full of greed, full of worldly desires, we need to work on it, contemplate upon it, try to get rid of it. It's not that in 3 days all the weeds will be taken out, because this field is very deep. It's very vast. For countless lives, according to Bhagavad Gita, we have been carrying this field. Lord Krishna called it a kshetra. Kshetra means a field. So we need to do the clearing of this field. So that's why these rishis, they said at least every year, twice a year, concentrate on it. Rest of the year also keep on working on it. It's not that rest of the year we should not do it, but concentrate first 3 days of the Navratri. See which of the weed I want to take out this time a little bit more. See, this is the reflection we need to do. Because all these weeds are inside us. Want to get rid of them. So if we live 75, 80 years in this human life, you can see that how much clearing we can do, right? Twice a year, and rest of the time also a little bit, and watch what's happening. Instead of focusing on outside, focus more internally. Our own mind. Instead of thinking about somebody else's mind, what are they thinking, what are they doing? Focus on your mind. So next 3 days, according to this scheme, worshipping of goddess Lakshmi. In which way? Cultivate some good habits also. So get rid of the negativity or some positivity. Good habits. That's a Lakshmi. Lakshmi doesn't mean only the physical wealth. Sure, in order to do our duties in the outer world, we need physical wealth. But real wealth is the qualities which we have. The qualities which we normally talk about: control over our senses, control over our mind, endurance, deeper faith. In Sanskrit, the names are Shamdam, Uprati, Titiksha, all those. Cultivate those qualities. See where something is missing. Are the senses of mine let my energy flow outside, or can I close this door very easily? That is a real wealth. Just like in the field outside, after clearing out all the weeds, what do? You plow that. A farmer will plow it, put some nice fertilizer in there, good kind of a soil in there. So cultivating these qualities means you are putting in a good fertilizer in your own mental field. Truthfulness. Never ever thinking about harming anybody. Ahimsa. Never ever even thinking about being jealous about anybody's success. Having compassion in you. Those are the good qualities. That's a fertilizer for our own mental field. So 3 days. Then what happens the last 3 days then? If the weeds have been weeded out, it has been, the whole soil has been fertilized beautifully, it is ready to plant. That is what Goddess Saraswati is. You are planting. You are planting those thoughts which will take us towards the divine. Only then you can meditate. Otherwise, meditation is just another little term for us. But if we do it this way, then we can definitely meditate. Okay, so this is the significance of 9 days. It is about us. And why do people do the fasting? Because a lot of people, they do fasting also the 9 days. Fasting means less and less time in the kitchen. More time working on yourself. Because otherwise our kitchen takes so much time. So simplify it. And after 9 days, the simplification of our eating should become a part of our life, so that we can continue on this path. Okay, so right now we are in the days of Navratri. So think about it. You don't have to food fasting. If you want to do, go ahead, do it. But I would say, as a yoga student, pay attention to this more. Okay, food only helps us so much. And we already have known what to eat, what not to eat, how much to eat. We are familiar with that. But mainly, we got to make sure that with these great powers around us, how do we purify ourselves at a higher level? Okay, since we don't have time to talk about, next week I will continue this this thought, and I will talk about Shivling. I'll talk about the conch. I'll talk about the puja arti. I'll talk about the coconut. I'll talk about, if you want me to talk about something else, I'll talk about that too. Okay, but these are some of the basic symbolism we have in Hinduism. Okay, so anybody has a question on what I talked about today? All of this is to do with ourselves. Yes, I think somebody has a question, right, Jyoti?
Rita has a question. Then Nana.
It's not a question, it's a more compliment, that something I never understood properly either. The one God and all these are just the powers, because somebody asked you, I'm not very good in explaining either. So you have cleared up so much for me.
Good, good. We should know, as Hindus, we should know.
Yes, yes, we should.
We do believe in one God, but we should be able to explain it to our children and grandchildren or anybody else.
Right, right.
Okay?
Thank you very much for that.
Okay. Anybody else?
Nana. You have to unmute yourself, Nana. No, unmute.
Yeah. Hersh, can you please give me the name of 4 definitions you gave, like Vaishnavi, Vishnu, Samartha, those names?
Okay.
Again?
First one, I said Shaivites.
Shaivites. Okay.
Shaivites, Saivites, Shaivites. Those
Shaivites
worship Lord Shiva. Lord
Okay.
Shiva. And the second one is Shakats, Shakats.
Okay.
Shakti, Shakti कहते हैं ना? Okay, so the god is it's like a goddess worshippers. Okay. So whether a person believes in Lakshmi or Saraswati or Durga, those are all Shakats. Okay. And the third one is Vaishvanites, Lord Vishnu. Whether it's a Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, okay? So that's a Vishnu, Vishnu's avatar.
Vishnu's avatar Ram. Okay.
Yes, Vaishvanites. And then fourth one is a Samarats. And they see in their own deity.
Can you please spell that?
One God.
All gods?
Yeah, like a one supreme. See, just like what we do at the ashram. What do we say? Om Shri Ram Lal Prabhuji Par Brahmane Namah. We are seeing that Brahm in this form.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Jyoti Desai has a question.
Can you please spell Hersh, please?
Which one? Rita, you got to unmute.
Fourth one. Can you please?
Samartas.
And then Jyoti Desai has a question. Jyoti.
Thank you, Sarji.
Okay, all right, Nana. Jyoti?
Yes, the definition of symbol represents.
It's a idol, 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 representing the unknown ideal. Okay, so because sometimes people say that, oh, you are just an idol worshipper. It's not we are worshipping the idol only. With the help of the idol, we are connecting with the ideal. Okay, see, just like a Lord Ganesh, there are so many ideals in there. Whether it's a head of an elephant or a big belly or a mouse near or a laddu, all of those are just symbols. We can talk about that also if you want. But I think when the Ganesh Chaturthi came, we did talk about it, but we can always talk more about it. Next week, I'm going to go through these ideals in the idol. See, just like a coconut or a conch. Why the conch is in our temples? Why there's a bell in our temples? Why do we ring the bell? It's not that our God is sleeping and we got to wake him up. We got to understand it. We got to know this. Why all these idols? Okay. Does it make sense, Jyoti?
Yes, yes, yeah.
So no, continuation, I think today definitely we didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it more next week, but you guys can think it through. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But I laughed because I did hear that bell, we are waking up the God,
No,
that.
God doesn't sleep. See, these are some of the misinformation, sir.
Yes.
Right? And somebody can tell us, oh, your God was sleeping. God never sleeps.
No, but I guess to tell them that I am here for you.
God knows that too. I'll tell you more about it next week. You'll have to wait. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
Nope. I think we are good.
We are good. Well, very good. I must have done a good job, or
Fantastic.
or something else.
Right? I have a question, Ji.
Okay.
Yes, Prem. Yes.
You mentioned that different deities have different powers. So does that mean depending on what people are looking for, they can worship different deities at different times?
Yeah, that's what they do. According to their desires, they do.
I see.
But that doesn't mean they don't have the other powers. It's only one God has all the power. But the person is the one, the devotee is the one who's looking for that, is connecting with that.
Exactly.
Okay? That doesn't mean that Parvati, goddess Parvati is not full of knowledge. But a person who is worshipping Parvati is looking for the wealth.
Okay.
So it's not that they don't have anything else. They have all, they are all complete by themselves. But it's a personification of one power through one deity so that a person can connect with that. And ultimately we got to remember, we got to get rid of these desires. Okay?
I think Dawn has a question. Dawn?
Yes, Dawn. No? Okay. All right. So today, Rita wanted to sing bhajan. She sent me the message. And Kamala, you can sing tomorrow. Okay. So go ahead, Rita. So we'll end the class with this. And after Rita's bhajan, we can again have chat if you want to. Okay, Rita. Unmute yourself, please.
ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया चरणों से लग जाऊं मैं सब अंधकार मिटा दे मैया दर्श तेरा कर पाऊं मैं ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया जग में आकर जग को मैया अब तक ना पहचान सका क्यों आया हूँ कहाँ है जाना ये भी मैं ना जान सका तू है अगम अगोचर मैया तू है अगम अगोचर मैया कहो कैसे लख पाऊं मैं ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया चरणों से लग जाऊं मैं ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया करो कृपा जगदम्बा भवानी मैं बालक नादान हूँ नहीं आराधन जप तप जानू मैं अब गुण की खान हूँ दे ऐसा वरदान है मैया दे ऐसा वरदान है मैया सुमिरन तेरा गाऊं मैं ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया चरणों से लग जाऊं मैं ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया मैं बालक तू मैया मेरी निस दिन तेरी ओट है तेरी कृपा से ही मिटेगी भीतर जो भी खोट है। शरण लगा लो मुझको मैया, शरण लगा लो मुझको मैया, तुम पर बलि बलि जाऊं मैं, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया, चरणों से लग जाऊं मैं, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया, ऐसा प्यार बहा दे मैया।
Very nice, Rita. Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you. Beautiful. Very